As a brown man myself, I find it oddly concerning at times when the Republican Party will tell me that they don't see color, that they are the party, they aren't the racist ones, they don't see color, color should be ignored. Let's not talk about, racism and, critical race theory, DEI, all these sort of, buzzwords that get thrown out should be completely and utterly eradicated from American politics and American society in general. Um, I don't I understand, I really try to understand why many Republicans and conservatives in general will tell me that because racism is not a pretty story. Slavery, the Jim Crow South, Reconstruction era, all these things, immigration, Chinese exclusion, all these sort of events that, you know, happen throughout American history are not pretty. And it makes sense, we should move on, we should move forward. However, I don't like it necessarily. I think I don't see color. It sounds to me like a dog whistle. It almost sounds like, there is something wrong with the color of my skin, therefore I should ignore it. And, as an Asian man, as a son of immigrants, with the idea of parents who came to this country, started out low class, worked, their asses off, and got me and my brother into the upper class is something that I can take for granted and I appreciate this country for. However, I still think racism in its essence does oppress, and we still feel these after effects of um, racism and systemic oppression. So the term "I don't see color" to me rings the idea that there is something wrong with the color of my skin. Therefore, I need to ignore it. Society needs to ignore it. Therefore, we can move on. And I just don't think that's true. You know, um, According to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the Indian American household is the most well off and the most affluent household, where minorities were people of color. But at the same time, my mother's uncle was able to come here because of that Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, which was essentially able to allow her family to move in without the baggage and um, effects of hardlining, redlining, and blockbusting, and all these things that essentially forced African Americans into these um, low income, low tax base, underfunded areas in the inner cities. So while I don't think many laws made today are racist textually and fundamentally, I still think that the past um, ideas of racism and systemic oppression still have an effect today. And, how we go about addressing those are the things that I still draw a blank. A lot of people have suggested the idea of, um, reparations. But at the same time, how can you possibly put a number value on the idea of slavery? And also, if we were to hand out um, just money in like Social Security installments to these African Americans, does that automatically fix the issue? I don't think so. Additionally, I think that racism, for me, even last night, um, I was mocked with stereotypical Indian accents. Does that hurt me? Does that hurt my economic, social mobility? One could argue yes, one could argue no. For me, I'll still think about it. It'll still affect my day, but I'm not going to, you know, not be able to go to school, pursue what I want to do, and, enjoy the things that I want to enjoy about this country. So it's been a uphill and downhill kind of roller coaster battle dealing with this kind of idea that this country is inherently racist. Because at the same time, I do see the conservative idea of let's move on, let's, for a better word, ignore it till it won't become a problem. But I think that simply cannot exist anymore. I simply think that addressing the issues are fundamental into solving and coming up with a solution. Um, does that mean I think, you know, committing crimes, robbery, murder, all these things are justified that happen within these inner cities? No, that doesn't make it okay. But all I'm trying to point out here is I understand why they're happening. It's not a quote unquote like eugenic genetic thing, like it's just in these culture of these people that live within the inner cities just to commit these sort of crimes, you know. But it's always been puzzling for me. Um, Anytime I'm with a group of conservatives, it's a very distinct, you know, group of people, Typically conservatives are white folks, and there's nothing inherently wrong with that. But the idea of not seeing color, to me, can do a little bit more harm than good. And I think most people who do say I don't see color have good intentions, but are sort of misguided in the thought that, you know, the idea that certain cultures, certain people are just inherently lazy, or their culture is bad, or these types of words that get labeled definitely don't help. And while I'm not proposing any solution, I am saying that continuously attacking the problem doesn't help in my eyes. Um, yeah, thank you for listening. Enjoy your day.